Well, good morning, Cam.
Greetings and salutations, Mitch. How are you?
I'm doing good. We're back.
We are.
I wasn't sure if we were going to make 100th episode because the things had gotten kind of weird over the last month. But we're back. So those of you who are
getting her done.
Listening to this episode, we appreciate you keeping us in your podcasting app with a vain hope that we might be back. But we are back.
Yes, we are.
How much do we want to talk about what's been
fonder, right?
Yeah. Well, how much do we want to talk about what was going on for the last month? Really what it comes down to is my schedule just got thrown upside down, and for me to be able to not only be here to record and have time to edit the show afterwards, I think it was just one of those things where like my time had gotten way more precious for a while, and so now things are kind of settling out a little bit, and hopefully we can get into a good pattern here. I have not thrown the idea off the table of maybe going monthly if this doesn't work out, but right now we're committed to doing that every other week like we were before. So if you're worried that we weren't going to come back, well, we're here.
Yes.
Okay.
We have returned like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yes.
To be overly dramatic, there was no fire, there was no ashes, but when given the chance to make a phoenix reference, I'll take it.
And when it comes down to it, we started with WWDC being a topic on our first episode, and we now are coming in at 100 episodes, and we're talking about WWDC today. So it seems appropriate.
Sure does.
The only downside to doing it this way is we were supposed to record our 100th episode on Star Wars Day, and we didn't get a chance to. So
yeah,
I have to work on Saturdays now, so.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Anyway. All right.
But 100 episodes, man.
It's good.
We're triple digits.
4 years. We've been doing this for 4 years.
Holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. All right.
Now
I feel old now.
Hey, I've been having fun. I don't know about you.
Oh, I have too. I just didn't realize it had been 4 whole years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, all right. Time flies, man.
Sure does.
I am increasingly convinced that I have a very loose relationship with time. There are some days where I was like, oh man, like Saturday was game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And I watched it. And then I watched the U.S. men's team get obliterated by Colombia. I was like, man, oh, sweet. Tomorrow's the next NHL game. Great. No, I just watched it 2 hours ago. But like in my mind, that was yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm just so anyways, not related to anything, but
yeah,
I guess to the 4-year reference, like how has it been that long? No, not a bad thing. Just
my new schedule really messes me up because, like on a Wednesday, I work 8 to 5. Thursday, I work 10 in the morning till 8 at night. Friday, I work 8 in the morning till 8 at night. And then Saturday, I work 8 to 5. So especially that Thursday through Saturday kind of all blend together. So I find myself like Thursday feels like it should be Saturday. But then I get to Friday and I don't know if it's Thursday or Friday or Saturday. And then we get to Saturday and it's finally like, okay, well, 5 o'clock today, I'm done until Monday. So. But yeah, so that gets a little weird. Time is a construct, right?
There is no spoon.
So anyway, well, I'm game to start getting into some of the announcements of WWDC, and all I did. We're not going to go through every single feature and everything. When did you get a chance to watch it?
I watched it last night, and then after I watched like the Apple Intelligence part again this morning because I was pretty sleepy last night, and I don't remember all the details. I remember being spoiler alert, not overwhelmed, or like it's like they spent 45 minutes on this thing, and I was like, okay. But I rewatched it again this morning, and I'm like, okay, I have a little more appreciation for some of those features, but we'll get into that later.
We'll touch on that when we get through the OSs, just because I think that it's one of those things that we're going to talk about over the course of probably the next year or so, to really get a grasp for what this means. And I think that we got to put it in practice to get it. I don't think it's going to be one of those things that you can really talk about and us get excited about. Although there are a couple things I'm really excited about. So let's go ahead and get her kicked off. All right, Cam. I know the first one is the one you're most excited about, and that is Vision OS. I almost considered just skipping this one because neither one of us really is invested in this. But they're bringing mouse support. That's exciting. Did they even talk about that on the... I don't think they talked about that in the video. I don't think they did. No. Oh, what we should do is we should start out and talk about the opening video of the event.
Oh, my gosh. My first note is love the opening video, Craig's hair helmet, and that and then one of the skydivers turning airplane mode off and then skydive on their phone. It's like, this is it's such a funny, like, totally unnecessary thing, but like, oh, I'm not in the airplane anymore, so I'll turn that on. But yeah, Craig's helmet, I was like, God, this guy he's so good at not taking himself seriously, but like not overdoing it,
but know what I mean? Demanding respect at the same time. So
yeah, like he doesn't make a caricature of himself. He makes fun of himself, but then delivers when it comes time to present.
I thought it was a little heavy-handed out loud. Yeah, I thought it was a little heavy-handed though. This time around,
it's totally over the top. I mean, they skydived into and Phil is the pilot, so the bomber jacket on.
Yeah, so there's two things that are actually kind of funny about that. So first off, he's the pilot of the airplane. Now Phil has a license to. He flies airplanes.
No, I didn't know that.
So that's a legit thing. So that's kind of an Easter egg if you're not aware of that. The second thing is he's got an old click wheel iPod in the cockpit. So that's funny because he's the one that initially came up with the idea of the click wheel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's responsible for that.
Didn't he say something like, "I'm getting too old for this," whatever, and it shows the old school. Yeah.
So there's some, of course, there's the reference, but then there's some little Easter eggs that if you don't know are kind of funny. So, but yeah, it was good. I think it was maybe just a little bit cheesy for Tim to reference it from Apple Park.
Yeah.
Did they have him come in behind him and reference it? Just because it's like, okay, no, we know that it wasn't actually, them probably skydiving into Apple Park. But yeah, they tried and it came off. So
yeah, you got a couple laughs out of me. So
yep, for sure. Vision OS. Just some minor improvements. I don't even think they went to 2.0 on this one. Wasn't it like 1.2?
No, this is 2.0.
Is it 2.0?
It's Vision OS 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Still, one thing I said is it's only been 4 months since Vision OS was launched. And again, I was like, it's only been 4 months. So that was surprising. Yeah. And so to me, that's really fast for a 2.0 release. But this feels like a lot of rounding some of the rough edges off. A lot of what they showed was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh, that's a slight improvement on, it just getting it into a more, I'm not even saying mature yet because it's not there, but I guess, rounding some of the rough edges off of some of the stuff and adding, like they added a health kit. And there's a couple new gestures they showed. So, I mean, there are improvements and new features. They added a couple of APIs for developers to use as well. So again, they're growing this thing out, and the fact that they were able to do that in 4 months is, I think, pretty impressive, actually. Which shows me probably a lot of the stuff was in process when they first launched it. It just wasn't ready. You know what I mean? So
I would say that one of the only thing that really jumped out at me was the virtual display enhancements So to me, have your Mac screen like spread out all around you, I think that's kind of a cool feature. You know, I don't know how much
the
I
only
would use
feature
it,
I wrote down, I was like, that ultra wide 4K display for visual. I was like, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So
and they added you could put like travel mode on for airplanes, and they now added it for trains. I'm like, what person is going to sit on a train surrounded by strangers, put their Vision Pro on, and work when they can't? Like, I guess there's that like augmented V mode where you can actually see what's going on around you, but like I don't know, man.
So I have an answer to that. I have an answer to that question. Casey Liss.
Okay.
He was talking about it, that he's done it. So.
Oh my God! Of course he has.
And who would do it on a plane? Alex Lindsay. Every plane trip he takes. Yeah, he was talking about that on MacBreak Weekly last week. So. Yep.
Well, good for them, I guess. I'm still not buying one.
Yeah. Are you ready for iOS?
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah. So iOS had some really cool new features. Where do we want to start? Probably with theming, maybe.
Yeah, the home screen updates and the theming and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so you finally got your wish. You'll be able to put icons wherever you want on the screen.
Let's go.
Yeah, so which I think is a good improvement. I think that's something that probably should have done years ago.
And it's such a practical improvement too, right? I could customize everything about my home screen except for where, like, I couldn't anchor at the apps, right? I could choose where they were on the screen if my screen was full, but they were always pinned as high as possible, right?
Right.
So as soon as Craig said, he said something like, "Oh, I have this perfect, background picture. Now I can put my apps," and I was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna get!" And then I was so excited. Kennedy came in. She's like, "What?" And I was like, "Look, we can put apps where we want." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, you're 7. You don't know. Daddy's wanted this for a long time.
You don't know the struggle."
Yeah. When I was your age, these didn't even exist.
Uphill both ways.
So yeah. So you can, and it's not just that you can pin them to the bottom. You can pin them anywhere. So like in one of them, he's got a widget and like 4 apps and then 2 apps on the side to frame the dog's face, So it literally is, you can anchor them, obviously still within the grid, but you can anchor them any way you want, which is great. And then of course there's dark mode and tinting for the apps too. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So now when you have the option in dark mode now to have all your apps have a black background. So I think we're going to have to watch and see how this works out in practice, because I'm not sure how much buy-in the app developers are going to need to have with this. I mean, I don't know that they showed any third-party apps that did this. I'm looking at the image that we have in front of us, and there's no third-party apps in there. So if there's something they're going to have to do, or if it's all auto-generated.
My assumption, so with dark mode, like, they take the main app color and they turn the icon that color, and then like you said, the background is black. So like the Apple Music icon goes from being that reddish pinkish with the white music note to that reddish pink colors the music note, and then the rest of the rounded square is black. And I think it looks like, of the 3 options, dark mode's my favorite, hands down. The tinting one is really cool. It looks pretty, but it's so hard to distinguish the apps because they're all the same color. You know what I mean? So it comes down to muscle memory or just retraining. And I think it looks really cool aesthetically. You can make some really pleasing and pretty things, but I think for me, practically, dark mode is just like, oh man, that looks so cool. But again, like you said, if there has to be buy-in, then we'll see, if like one of my favorite apps just refuses to do the 2 lines of code or like whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I have a feeling that it's
like as presented, the dark mode is my favorite.
I think what they're going to be doing is pretty automatic. Marco was talking a little bit about it on their show this week on ATP, and he was saying that it was pretty much automatic. But if developers wanted a certain look to their app, they could go in and do something special to work with it. So
nice.
It sounded like there were some options there. So.
That's good to know. Yeah, they'll make it if an app icon has multiple colors, they maybe should go in and just choose the primary one, right?
I think this is going to offer us the ability to make our home screens look really pretty or really awful. So,
well, there's no accounting for taste, right?
Yeah, never underestimate how people can make their screens look ugly.
Mm-hmm. Remember the background that Mike Hurley used? He took the wallpaper of that hotel in Beverly Hills, and he got so much crap for it.
Yeah,
I want him so badly, just as a meme, to put that background on his phone and then use the tinting feature for a full screen of apps to match that, and then post it and just watch the internet rage just to poke the bear. I just want him to do it just for fun.
Mm-hmm. So I will be honest with you. I thought that some of it I didn't like as much as far as the colors, because there were some examples that they showed where there was a lot of red in the background and then they put red on the icons, and I thought I didn't really care for that look. But it's gonna come down to personal taste, I think, because even for as much as I love orange, I'm not sure that I want all my icons to be black and orange either, because that's gonna look a little too Halloween. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one last thought on this is when Craig showed the tinting off when he first did it. So the picture was like a black or chocolate lab. I couldn't tell because of lighting, and then there was like some tennis balls underneath them. And when he first showed the tinting, it made all the apps the same yellow as the tennis balls. And I was like, well, I don't like that. And he's like, oh, but you can change the color. And he slid it over to make it a nice shade of blue that complemented the yellow. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know, and like a lot of the examples they showed were just themed. Like there was one that was like teal, and then there was the all red one, right? But I think adding the contrast in the tinting version makes it easier to distinguish app from background, but still all of the apps are the same color. So it comes down to recognizing, the icon or just muscle memory, which frankly I have anyways because I don't change the placement on my stuff. So, yeah, really cool feature, I think, and I'm excited to see how cool and how awful they are.
All right. Well, that's about it for the home screen. He went in and talked about a lot of control customization for Control Center, which I think is going to be really cool. Adding, 3 pages of Control Center icons now that are all themed. I don't think you're going to be able to just put whatever you want on them. But along with that, I think burying the lead a little bit, I think along with that, you're going to be able to change the home, the lock screen widgets, or not widgets, but those two buttons at the
flashlight
bottom.
And the camera that have been locked there forever. You can now choose what you want instead of the flashlight and the camera, which is great.
Which to me, like that's what I want there. But let's say maybe I want to use Halide instead of the stock camera app. I could put Halide there instead of the stock camera app, and it would just take me right into Halide instead. So, I mean, there's, you could customize that. I don't know that there's another, flashlight app that you want to do more differently, but
you could, if you text a lot, you could just put messages on your home screen, right? And it just takes you right in. Or the phone icon, if you can put literally anything there. So whatever you use the most, you can put right on your lock screen, and you don't have to unlock and then open. It just takes you straight in, right? Like it's the ultimate shortcut, which is cool. And I'm interested to see what they do actually, let me say this. When he said that they were going to group Control Center into certain categories. I was like, but now I have to slide. Like, what if I want to get to the last group? I got to open Control Center slides. Like, that's dumb. And then as I was saying that out loud to the TV last night, he's like, oh, and you can just, in one continuous gesture, just slide. And I was like, that is such a good solution to that problem.
Yeah.
So you slide down from the top right to open Control Center, but if you just keep scrolling down the right side, it will scroll you through the groups to get you to one that you want. So they removed the friction that I was concerned about, which I think is just a really simple, easy solution. And I was like, oh man, like I was just happy because they thought about my initial concern. They thought about and they found a really simple solution for it. So yeah. I like when I see stuff like that. It's like they've really put thought into what the actual user experience is.
Cool.
And the other thing too is Control Center is now extensible for third-party apps, and the controls are resizable. Mm-hmm. So you can put, so it's not just locked to system stuff or Apple stuff. All of your third-party apps can now extend into Control Center, and they don't have to be like, you can make them the 2x2 box, like all of the different shapes and sizes of the controls. You can move them around.
My wife just walked in. I don't know why she's home, but
I'm home until 1.
Okay. All right.
Because we only have 3 kids.
All right. Fair enough. But anyway.
Oh yeah, and the other thing too that along with the extensions to third party and resizing is that you can also add a control to the action button as well. Mm-hmm. So you can have the 2 on the bottom that you can now change, plus the ones under, the date and time, and then you can add another one too. So I mean, you can really get to a bunch of your go-to apps now from the lock screen just with one touch, which is really neat.
No, and I think for me, I could see myself leaving because I have the camera on my action button. I could see switching the camera button down at the bottom to messages. I think that actually would be a good option. Or just play around with that, do something else if I want to too. If I want to take pictures in Halide, I don't do that a lot, but that's probably because because the camera app is the one it always goes to. So maybe I use Halide more because I can use the third party extensibility for all that. So, but yeah, so it'd be cool.
Yeah. And then the next thing they talked about was you can lock an app and hide an app. And this was like, okay. So what this is like, say, you're hanging out with your friends and you want to hand your friend your phone to look at some pictures or, watch a video, or they want to, I don't know, play a game or something. You can categorize certain apps to be locked, meaning your friend they can see that the app is on your phone, but they can't open it. Mm-hmm. So if they're really trying to, hey, let me take a look at that video on your phone, and they really just want to poke around and see what you have on there because they're creepy, they can't do that anymore because it requires Face ID to open those locked apps. And then which is, okay, that's great. Like, I'll hand my phone to my kid. I don't want my kid to be able to, get into my email and accidentally, that's fine. Then there's this hide an app feature, which just feels creepy to me. Mm-hmm. You can categorize apps on your phone to be hidden so that no one else but you can even see them on your phone, which means the first thing I thought was like, well, a bunch of married dudes are about to download Tinder and hide it from their wives. Like, that was the first thought that came to my mind. It was like, cheaters just got a leg up because now their wives have no idea that it's on their phone and can't see it. And I was like, that feels not right in every possible way.
Yeah, so what applications would not be weird for that? I mean, let's think about handing your phone off to a friend. Like, what kind of apps would you not want your friends to see on your phone?
The only things I can think of are bad ones.
All right.
Like, why would I want my friend? Why would I not want my friends to know that I have Disney Plus or the Starbucks app or Spotify? Like, I don't get it.
I'm looking through my phone and I'm like, I'm not sure what I would want to hide either.
And frankly, I don't really give my phone to anyone anyways. Like,
Yeah.
it's my phone.
Like, who does that? Okay,
So, I
occasionally
guess,
I'll show people pictures, but I don't hand them the phone to look at them.
yeah, like literally the only person I give my phone to is my daughter, and that happens maybe. Like, she had it yesterday in the car because we were stuck in the worst traffic of my life, Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
I sat in more traffic, the most traffic I've ever sat through yesterday. It was awful. And so I gave her my phone because she was like, we were supposed to be home 30 minutes ago. And I was like, I know, here. Distract yourself from the pain. But like, that happens, like, I probably haven't given her my phone in 3 months. You know what I mean? So it happens so infrequently that, yeah. But, you know, they made these features, so they must have use cases for them. It's lost on me.
Yeah. Well,
The one thing that they, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna mention the Photos app.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the redesign of the Photos app?
Well, when they said it was the biggest redesign ever, I expected something much different than what they showed me. Because they made a big deal. This is the biggest redesign of the Photos app ever. Like, and then the difference was, instead of the grid filling the whole screen, it fills what? A little over half, 3/5, and then there's like pre-made galleries or something underneath it.
Well, but to be fair, what they essentially did is they took all the tabs that were in Photos, and they basically created a place for them on the front page for all those tabs. So instead of going into like your albums or your memories or something like that in separate places, they put them all in the same place so that you just scroll through and then you can go into each. So I think they simplified the user interface so that people don't have to like dig down through there. It surfaces everything right as you open the Photos app. So
right,
I think in a lot of ways they did do quite a bit of work to redesign the Photos app, because quite honestly, the Photos app has been the same pretty much since they launched the phone. I don't think it's really changed all that much.
And I agree with you on what they did is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's photo grid at top, and then you can swipe on the photo grid to access your favorites, that's cool. And you swipe right again and you get featured photos that the app thinks you're going to like, and that's customizable. And then below that, as you said, is organized by collection. So instead of the tabs, like you said, and I even wrote like, this looks like fun. Like, I like this. This is cool. Yeah. And that's customizable as well. Like, so the fact that they're so I agree with you that they've done a bunch of work, but when they said biggest redesign ever, I wasn't expecting to see the grid again. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they just made such a big deal out of it. But I do agree.
They're not wrong, though. It is a big redesign. Yeah.
I know, but I wasn't. Anyways, but there's also a new filter button, too, which is a great feature that you can filter the library by certain things. So, again, I agree with you that they put a lot of work in. I just thought it was kind of funny. Biggest redesign ever. We changed the bottom half of the app. So,
some nice additions to messages.
Yeah,
I wasn't really going to talk about mail. You and I don't really use the stock mail app, do you?
Actually, that's the only one I use now.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
I tried switching back to it for a while and didn't like it, so I switched back to Spark.
When I got my iPhone 15 a couple months ago, whenever I get a new phone, I always use it. I always start it from scratch. I don't start it from backups.
Yeah,
because it allows me to only add the apps that I actually use, and all the cruft that I've downloaded over the previous 2 years goes away. And so I just used the stock mail app without downloading Spark, which I'd been using. And I was like, this is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't hate it. It gets the job done. I'm not an email nerd. Like, but yeah, so I mean, I do use it, but and that's the reason why, is because I just didn't feel the need to download a third party one.
Well, what I like about the using Spark over the stock app is just I lean heavily into like blocking emails, getting them shuffled out of my inbox so that I don't have to look at them,
Mm-hmm.
So when I go to the regular mail app, there isn't as many options for that. And I pay for Spark for that reason, so that I can filter out everything that I don't want to see. So I still get more email than I'd like, but at least this way I can say, you know what, when my don't tell my worship director that I do this, but when my worship director's got these auto like planning center crap that keeps coming to my email, and I blocked it because I don't want to see them. I don't need to. I get to church every Sunday at the same time. Like I don't need to be reminded on Saturday that I have a shift on Saturday. So I block those emails because I don't want to see them. And so it's really nice that way. I don't get bugged on Saturday because, whatever. So, but anyway, no, I like the stuff that's in messages now too, because they've added some interesting improvements. You can now use emoji for tap backs.
Yeah, the entire emoji library and sticker libraries.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really cool.
I'm gonna have so much fun with that.
Yeah. This is going to be fun and maybe just a little crazy making for other people, not me.
Well, again, there's no accounting for taste, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I've said this before on the show multiple times. I like that Apple does things like this that serve no other purpose than fun. This isn't a productivity improvement or, this is just fun, letting people express themselves in more fun ways.
Yeah.
And I like that they do stuff like that. They're not the only company that does it, but this is just another example of them like, let's just make this a little more delightful and let people laugh more.
Mm-hmm. And then the text effects.
And we'll get to that when we, and we'll get to that later too, when we talk about the Apple Intelligence stuff with the pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
We'll get there.
Send later, so you can schedule, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know how practical that's going to be for me, but again, I've never had the option, so I won't know until I try. I think it's a cool feature. I don't know, and maybe that's like I need to send a reminder message to someone at 7 a.m., but I'm not getting up till 8. Yeah. So I'll schedule. Who knows? And then this one blew my mind because it had never crossed my mind. Never. And once I saw it, I was like, how has this not been a thing for 10 years already? Rich text in messages. Mm-hmm. Bold, italics, underline, strike through. Like, never crossed my mind. But the second I saw it, like I said, how the heck have we waited this long for it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it felt like I wrote in my notes, such basic stuff. Can't believe it took this long. And maybe it's just because no one thought of it. I don't know. But I also don't know what the underlying technology, like SMS and I know iMessage is a little different, but maybe this really was tricky to pull off. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I will be using it. Instead of having to put asterisks around stuff, I will be using italics for the emphasis, Mitch. So
I know that there's some other things that we could talk about here. They in the feature quilt that they have RCS messaging support. So that's kind of a technical thing, but that's something that Google's been giving them a hard time about. So how iMessage, if you're texting somebody has an iPhone, you get a blue bubble. If you text somebody that doesn't have an iPhone, you get a green bubble, and it goes to SMS instead of the iMessage protocol. So what RCS does, it's a richer format of SMS. So it adds more features, it adds more stuff that works better with Android apps. So I don't know if it'll be a 1-to-1 comparison. I don't know if they do like tap backs like that or exactly, how much is going to transfer over, but it's actually going to eliminate some of those terrible text messages where it has your message and that says sent with confetti or, something like that. So instead of actually showing confetti.
Yeah, I have one group chat with my college buddies, and everyone has an iPhone except for one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's usually the one that instigates. He's the one that usually instigates a lot of the reactions because he likes to poke the bear on a lot. We have a lot of. So our group is Michigan, split between Michigan and Ohio State, the Lions and the Bears. But we all like the Red Wings somehow. And we're either in Michigan, Illinois, or Ohio. And he's always just even a week ago sent Michigan, Ohio State GIF just because why not try to piss off the Ohio State fans in June. And then of course it's oh, so-and-so reacted with the laughing face. So-and-so reacted with the exclamation mark. I was like, oh, Martin, get an iPhone. So hopefully this solves that.
Yeah. Only other things on here that I'm seeing on the Quilt here is hiking and maps, which is going to be an improvement. There's one thing on here that says larger icons on home screen. They really kind of glossed over that, and sorry about that. We really glossed over that, and I think that hold on, I got to decline a phone call that's coming in. I don't know who's calling me, and I don't care. But they didn't show what that looks like to have the larger icons on your home screen. I don't know if it goes to a 3x4 grid or a 3x3 grid on the and just makes all the icons bigger, or if it's selective, you can blow up one. I'm not really sure what that's going to look like yet.
Yeah, because they literally just mentioned it right when they were showing the screen. My assumption is my assumption is it is an accessibility feature, right? Like larger text. But it would be interesting if you could have one app that's big, but that's a widget, right? I don't know. I'd be interested to see what that is.
I'm taking a look right now to see if I can dig it up and get an answer on that. But in the meantime, did we have anything else on the feature Quilt that we wanted to talk about?
They just mentioned that, there's updates to Wallet and Journal, but I don't want to talk about that. The one thing I do wanted to, two things. Gaming mode is coming to the iPhone. And what that means is that it minimizes background activity so that you can get the highest frame rates possible for the game you're playing. And it also, they said, dramatically improves response time with AirPods and a wireless controller. So if you have gaming mode on, you can stream the audio to your AirPods and then use a wireless Bluetooth controller and have the least amount of lag possible, which is pretty neat. I don't personally play games on my iPhone that require a handheld controller. I'm more of a crosswords kind of a guy. But for those that do it, I think that's a cool feature. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was that there's now reminders integration into calendar. It's how is this not a thing already? And it was with Fantastical.
Right.
For years. It's been that way for Fantastical. And now it is baked into the stock Apple Calendar app, which is great. It's exactly how it should be. So I think that's it for me on the odds and ends
Yeah.
for iOS.
And I think we'll have to wait until we get the betas to see how that's going to how all this stuff shakes out and how it looks. iPad OS, sure. Any particular features? Of course, it's getting a lot of what iOS has, but anything that jumped out at you uniquely about iPad OS?
So I'm laughing at the notes that I took last night. Mm-hmm. It says a new tab bar morphs into the sidebar, and I wrote in all caps, "Wow, how cool!" Last night, me was sassy. Apparently,
yeah.
I mean, I'm always a little sassy, but okay, yeah, I have a lot of snark in my notes, so I'm gonna not share that.
So I think the smart script was kind of a neat feature. As you're writing with the Apple Pencil, it will kind of resort it a little bit, clean it up for you, level out the lines so that it just looks neater and it's easier to read. I certainly would love to see how they're going to do that with my handwriting. So I'm looking forward to that.
I was thinking the same thing. Mine's horrendous.
Of course, it's getting all the home screen customization that the iPhone has. There were a lot of that stuff was in notes as far as like the smart script and stuff. So it'll be interesting. I want to play with that and see what that's going to look like. But
yeah. Well, I will say I'm going to save all of the snark that I wrote in my notes. My summation though was this is a dud of an update. Not impressed at all.
Yeah.
That's my take on iPad OS.
So I'm going to say the one thing that I think was the killer feature, if you want to call it that, or app that is being added to the iPad is probably the weirdest thing to say, and that was the calendar app. I mean, come on.
Calculator?
First off, the calculator app. I'm sorry. Did I say calendar? No, calculator app.
Yeah.
Not because it's a really cool calculator or anything like that. It's the handwriting support that really blows me away. You know, you can write, and this is not the first app to do this. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. But the fact that they built this into this app, you know, I can see myself using this, you know, at work when I'm working out numbers for customers or something like that. And just the way it's so smart about how it handles it. So I'm looking forward to playing with this at the least. But I think this is could be a really cool thing.
Yeah, and in your work context, that makes sense. Yeah, I just for the iPad specific stuff, I'm not impressed. It obviously inherits all of the iOS stuff, which we just talked about for 30 minutes, right? So like I'm geeked on that. And I think the ability to pin your apps anywhere on the home screen in the control center, just because of the bigger screen of the iPad, is going to be even more functional and cool. You have more space to come up with useful and pretty designs and that sort of stuff. So I'm cool on that stuff. It's just the iPad specific stuff I was not impressed with at all. But that's okay. I'm still going to use the heck out of my iPads.
All right. So I need to look at something here real quick. Because I'm almost positive, because I think we're going into Mac OS next, right?
I mean, do you want to talk audio at home?
I put that at the end.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. The Mac OS is fine.
Mm-hmm. But let's look at this. My WWDC predictees from last year. Did I take a shot at the name? I did not. So I would have to dig further back, but I'm pretty sure there was at least 1 year. And that's going to be in the numbers, isn't it? Let's see if I can look that up real quick. Because I'm pretty sure that I picked the name of macOS in some earlier year Good gravy. Where is everything? I've got this all sorted weird now, so. Oh, there you are. I just wanted to take a victory lap because this is the name that I've been wanting for forever. So let's see. I've got these are the 2023 predictees again. Let me see. 2022. WWDC predictees. In 2022, I picked macOS Mammoth or Sequoia. So, and you let me do that. So, and of course I didn't get it, but I had that on my list. So I just want to do a little victory lap
2
and
years
say,
early, man.
I was just a little early on it, but in the end I got there. So I'm excited about that. So Sequoia is the name of macOS this year. I'm digging. I didn't understand the cover art when the wallpaper when I first saw it until you saw it in the video. And then I'm like, oh, it's the trees. It's the trees. I thought just maybe it was a stylized background, but it's a stylized version of the trees in Sequoia. But I'm pretty jacked about that. I'm more excited about the name than I am probably any of the other features.
Do you want to talk about iPhone mirroring?
Yeah, let's do that. Because I think that's a cool feature.
So, yeah, last night I wrote, why is this useful? And then also iPhone app notifications come to my Mac. Why? But I rewatched that part and the intelligence part this morning. And I think I'm still, I hate notifications. Like I have them so pared down. Like that part still bothers me. But one of the things that Craig did was he had the Unfold app, which is like a really cool app that Squarespace owns that gives you all sorts of really neat templates for social media that are already pre-designed. You just drop your media in there. And one of them had like a picture or two, and then he had taken a bunch of clips on his Mac and Final Cut and made a video. And instead of having to like save it to files, go get his iPhone, open the files, import it to he just dragged it from the file from his Mac, dropped it right on the Unfold app on his Mirror iPhone, and then posted it from there. I was like, okay, that solves multiple annoying steps.
Yeah.
And what would take 2 minutes and just be cumbersome literally is drag and drop and you're done in 2 seconds. Like when I rewatched it, I was like, okay, that is, as someone who does video work and understands the annoyance of doing something on your Mac and then saving it to files and then getting it on your phone and figuring out, do I have to go to files and export to the app, I have to go to the app and then through the app go to it, like, because it's annoying. And so I saw that and I was like, I don't know what I was thinking last night. That actually makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
I think I just got caught up in the notifications part. Like, no notifications. But yeah, so I think there are going to be some use cases where the mirroring is actually really helpful.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
I just like the idea that I can see my phone on my computer. I think that'll be useful at times or just fun, so, maybe I don't know if this is going to be available on the Intel Macs or not. There's a lot of this stuff that was Apple Silicon only. So,
yeah.
But because we record on, or I'm recording on an Intel 27-inch iMac. So some of these features may not be available to me on that, but otherwise, like, to be able to put that on my other Mac or on my MacBook Air and be able to see it on there, I think it could be fun. Maybe I have to figure out a way to get that onto the Intel Mac to see, to be able to see that. But I don't know. I'll play with it and see what it does and how it works. So, and if it's useful to me, but it's cool.
Yeah, and I think the other I was just thinking about this while you were talking, is the other potential use cases are if you have an app on your phone that is only iPhone. There's no Mac version. There's no web app.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm thinking of my podcast app, Snipped, the one that syncs with my Obsidian database and all that. Well, if I want to use that on my Mac, I can't.
Right.
But with iPhone mirroring, I could have it, you know, and play it through my computer speakers, or if my computer's plugged into the nicer speakers, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be another one where I could still use the app, but use it in a different context and still take advantages of the features it has, even though it doesn't have anything, you know, any Mac. But you can download iPhone apps to your Mac now, anyways. So maybe that doesn't solve.
But the problem is you can't download them all.
That's true.
You know,
they have to be Swift UI apps, right?
Yeah, well, the developer has to check a checkbox as well. So,
okay,
you know, there's plenty of apps that don't work on Apple Silicon. So,
yeah. Oh, and they Sherlocked window management apps like Moom. What's the one that you use?
Mosaic.
Yeah, they didn't probably totally Sherlock it because some of those have very like customizable. You know, you can even have hotkeys to set up stuff. But for basic window management, they finally added it to the OS, which is, again, a nice feature.
Yeah, and they to call it Sherlocking, they stole some features, but like Mosaic has a ton more stuff in it and lots of customizability. Where I feel like what Apple's offering you is, well, if you drag it over here, we'll figure out where we want to put it. You know, if you drag it up here, we'll figure out where you might like to put it. You know, and it's kind of what Windows does now, where Windows lets you drag to one side or drag to the other side or drag it to the bottom, or, you know, and it does different things, but it's a very select set of things that it'll do. And it's not as customizable. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but this is classic Apple, right? Shoot for the middle of people, right? That are, that's cool, I can do that now. And then there's apps like Mosaic and Moom for people like us that want to be particular. I
have a window management or a window size set up in Mosaic that is literally for I want to drag this over to my TV that's next to me. But the resolution on that TV is much smaller. So I need the window to be smaller to drag it over there. Otherwise it gives me problems when I try to drag it over. So I literally I have one that I want to use that for this window so I can drag it over here, which you wouldn't be able to do with Apple's stuff.
Correct.
So, but
we got a passwords app.
The passwords app. I think that's going to be, I know there's been a lot of talk about wanting that from other, I've heard that on other podcasts, and I think that'll be nice to have that split out.
Yeah. Cause it was just, it's buried in the settings app, which you can't resize. It's not the prettiest interface. So yeah, I was actually pretty excited about that. And that's across all the platforms, right? The passwords app, it's available on all of them. But again, just a nice quality of life improvement. See, something that I use every single day is passwords. So I'm happy about that.
I don't know that there's a ton to talk about. It's getting all the iMessage stuff. A lot of what we've talked about already. They're adding scenes to Freeform, which is okay. Game porting toolkit 2 for those few companies that are porting their games over to Mac. A redesigned reader. Nothing to get like super excited about. I really do like that wallpaper though. That's cool. I'll be using that. How about watchOS? There's probably just a quick couple of things to talk about in watchOS. They changed a little bit. They're adding the live activities to the Smart Stack, which I don't know if you use the Smart Stack at all.
I don't.
Occasionally I do. We really didn't get a new watch face either. They changed the photo face to be a little bit different, be able to select photos and intelligently create different styles of those photos, which I think looks kind of cool. I don't know if I'll ever use it, but it looks cool. They're doing enhanced ticketing, so they just changed the ticket layout for tickets that you have. They do have a couple of new apps. The Training Load app for training, and the Vitals app, which I think will be interesting to look at because it literally, specifically calls out changes in your vitals, over time, and alerts you if they change a lot.
Yeah, and it's heart rate, blood oxygen, temperature, and sleep time are the 4 that it tracks. Yeah, and when something's out of whack, it'll give you a notification.
Yeah. Which,
I don't know about you, but I like that.
Yeah.
If something ain't right and my watch can tell me, I sure would like to know.
Yeah. A lot of the other features it shares with the other OSs, the stuff that makes sense at least. So I don't know that we really need to belabor watchOS.
Yeah, again, it's just lots of sensible improvements.
Audio and home.
This is interesting.
Since audio is first in the graphic, we'll go with audio. So some of the big stuff, AirPods Pro are going to have some new features. The voice isolation, which I think will be nice if you're on a call in a loud room. It'll help to isolate your voice, make you sound better. The Siri interactions, you can now, instead of having to say yes or no to Siri, you can now nod your head or shake your head back and forth to answer yes or no. So that's not going to make you look weird in public either. I might not be saying it out loud, but I'm going in public, and people are probably still going to think I'm a weirdo, but whatever. Is there anything else that's really exciting here as far as the AirPods Pro?
So for tvOS, they added Insight, they call it.
Yeah.
Which is exactly the same thing as Amazon's X-Ray feature.
Pretty much. I think it looks prettier, but.
Well, yeah. But I mean, it's the same idea where if you're watching a show, you can go to Insight and it'll show you the actors, the actresses, that sort of information. Not novel. Amazon's had this for a while. But again, it's a quality of life improvement that makes, I don't now have to pick up my phone and type in show title cast and figure out who that actor or actress is. Like, I know them and I can't remember their name and it's driving me nuts and it's distracting me from the show. I can just pop it up on the TV and then you're good.
So there's two things here that are going to be unique for the Apple ecosystem. One of them is that if there's a song in the scene, it identifies the song and allows you to add it to your music library.
Yeah, that's nice.
The other thing is that this is, if you don't want to bother the other people that you're watching the movie with, you can pull up your phone and open up the remote app, and it'll show in the remote app the actresses and actors and also have that music widget. So you'll be able to, you don't have to take over the screen to find out who's in the show. So that'll be nice.
That is actually, that's a clever solution.
Poor Casey Liss is already talking about how his app is being deprecated now. It's not a full-on Sherlocking, but he's already got my money, so.
Robot vacuums are now in the Home app.
Yeah, I don't know if they mentioned that, but it's there. I didn't hear him mention it. On the Apple TV as well, rather than only having aerial screensavers, they now have some new screensavers that you can put on there. So along with Ariel's, there's the Snoopy one. There were a couple others. I think they have one that, well, I think they've always had one that allowed you to show your photos. But there's one that's a little bit more intelligent that uses the same machine learning that the watch uses to create those new photo watch faces, to create full screen images with a clock on it. And so that might be fun to try. I don't know if I would stick with that one.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to talk about.
Yeah, not really.
For that one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few small features, but I don't know if there's a whole lot more to talk about there. But then they've concluded the presentation with, I think you said 45 minutes. I didn't look at the timing, but they spent a lot of time on Apple Intelligence, not AI, Apple Intelligence. So
sometimes they can't help themselves.
But this is essentially creating, or basically turning Siri into more of an intelligent assistant. In most cases, there's also some other features that I think come along with this. Some generative AI stuff. How you feel about those Genmojis?
I hate the name. Absolutely hate it.
Sucks.
And I get it. Generative emoji. Like, I get why they did it. It's awful. It's a terrible name. The concept and the finished product, I think, is going to be a lot of fun.
I love it. I'm going to have so much fun with these.
The actual thing is great. The name is terrible.
I can't wait to send these to my Android friends and have them go, "Where did you get that? What emoji is that? I'm looking through. I can't find it." And be like, "Yep."
Yeah, and I think, like, so one of the things that I forget the woman who was presenting, I forget her name, but she's like the director of machine learning and AI at Apple. So, like, she's got to be brilliant if that's her job, you know? And she did a great job presenting. One of the things she said is, like, you know, when we introduced Siri 13 years ago, which again was me and time having a weird relationship thing.
Yep.
This is what we always envisioned, which is, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But the fact that what Siri was when it first started, and this is like the gap between Siri, you know, version 1 versus Apple Intelligence, like, that gulf is enormous. And if they really had this vision back then, imagine how frustrating it must have been that that's what they were able to do. But yeah, like, this Apple Intelligence, like, Siri is on major steroids now. It's not just the Genmoji stuff. It's the rewriting of, you know, text and changing the tone and being able to ask follow-up questions. Like the example she gave of, hey, when does my mom's flight come in? And Siri gets full up-to-date flight information from an email. Hey, what are our lunch plans after that? And pull up information from a text message. How long will it take me to get from the airport to there? Siri knows there means the restaurant. Maps it out for them. The maps. And I was like, just the ability to follow up contextually, is so convenient and so nice. It's like you're actually having a conversation instead of having to do multiple, like, siloed things and then put it together yourself.
I think this is awesome. I think this is awesome because I think this is what we've wanted, because I can't tell you how many times I've asked Siri something and I'm like, you should know this. It's all there. Like, why can't you just tell me that? And so I think this is going to be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, some of the other things that the intelligence is doing is showing you priority notifications and priority emails based on context and timing. And then there's, like I mentioned, like the rewriting of an email. You can check for grammar. You can have it rewrite it in a friendly tone, a concise tone, a professional tone. You can
just proofread it.
It even integrates with ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the big plays here is the privacy thing, right? Apple's been hammering privacy as long as I can remember. And everything's done on device and all that sort of stuff. But they acknowledged for some, like Apple Intelligence's strong suit is its understanding of my personal context and what I do and who I talk to and how I, but they mentioned or even admitted there are other tools out there that have world knowledge that ours doesn't. And so in those cases, Apple Intelligence or Siri will say, hey, can I send this to ChatGPT?
Yeah.
And it will then send, because it realized this is a question. Like one of the examples was, hey, I have these ingredients. Give me a 5-course meal I can use with that. And it was like, that feels like a ChatGPT question. Can I do it? And it sends it to ChatGPT and then boom, comes back with the full recipe for all the courses. Which is cool that Apple is admitting there are other things out there that are better at certain aspects, and we want to integrate that with you to make our product even more helpful and beneficial to you. And then they went on and talked about the weaknesses of that stuff is that it's on a server and they keep your data and all that sort of stuff. But we've extended on device. They called it like private cloud compute, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Which is kind of a easy to stumble over. But they have built special servers with Apple Silicon that are audited by publicly audited by third parties to prove that there's no tracking of data, no storing of data. Like the code is all publicly auditable by these people, which feels like to me a huge investment by Apple to do that sort of stuff, to allow the intelligence features to really shine. And I think it shows their commitment to this in the long term, that they're building custom server farms, let's be honest, specifically for this feature. Like that's how much they believe this is going to be the future of how we interact with our devices. So this ain't going anywhere.
Right. And I think this is the first step, I think, in a long journey of features that are going to come to this and improvements that are going to come to this. One question I'd have to ask is, what do you think of the new Siri interface?
I like that the glow is around the edge of the phone instead of having the little warbly ball at the bottom. I think it just looks cool.
Yeah, it's got movement. It looks shiny.
Yeah, like there's an aura coming out of the phone. I just think it looks cool, and I think it's sleek. It's modern. It doesn't obstruct the interface at all. Because sometimes that Siri, the current Siri, blocks what I want to touch because it's, so I think that looks cool. I think a lot of the interfaces, the other thing, one of the things that's cool is if you double tap the swipe up bar, you can now type to Siri. So if your phone's, you're on your lock screen, there's that bar at the bottom that you swipe up to get home. If you double tap that, you can type to Siri. So that's a nice interface feature. I think a lot of the generative stuff, that interface is super cool looking. Yeah. You can select from, different categories. You can also type in people's names and it will grab them from photos. You can type in, other things, and it kind of floats around this thing in the middle, and then it generates the picture, and you can choose the art style from the 3 options. Like, I think that's neat. I think like in the composing thing, it's just this little blue dot over to the side that you click on and it gives you all your options. I think they did their best to get it out of the way as much as possible when needed to. And then when you're in it, like they even have the app for creating the images. Yeah. Like it sort of has that whimsy that we've, come to love. So I think it's pretty interesting. What about you? What are your thoughts on all of this?
Like I think I don't disagree with anything you just said. The one thing that I was thinking is, I guess I don't have to subscribe to Grammarly anymore. And I was thinking about it because at work now I'm working in one of the apps that we use. I write a lot of email and a lot of text messages, and Grammarly will pop up corrections and stuff like that. So I've been using that a lot more than I was. And it gives me 3 like free premium corrections a day, which I use within the first like half an hour I'm at work. So it's like, so I was considering like, maybe I subscribe to Grammarly and so that I have that option so that I can really kind of smooth my stuff out. But I'm thinking now I'm like, well, if this works in the app that I'm using for text entry. I mean, it's just in Chrome right now, but when I highlight that, and if it gives me the option to proofread it and then gives me corrections or gives me the option to, have it reworded in a certain way or something like that, I think that would be really cool. Like it would help me out with some of the little tweaks and stuff that I might want to put in there. Now, there's importance to having your own voice in what you say too, but because I don't want it to sound robotic, but at the same time, like being able to clean up some of the vocabulary, clean up. Obviously, if you misspelled something, you want it to flag that, or if I just used the wrong your. I want it to flag that too, which Grammarly does consistently. So, for some reason, I always want to put YOUR instead of YOU''RE. But yeah,
it's fair.
I catch it most of the time, but yeah, so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to play with this.
Yeah,
but
it'll be fun.
I totally agree with you about your own voice thing, because if everyone uses AI to correct their writing, everyone's going to sound the same or very, very similar, right? So I probably will not be using the rewriting part, but I'll definitely be using the spell check and grammar parts. You know what I mean? But it also depends. Like if it's an email, it's an email. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not writing a novel. I'm not getting published in the paper. Like it's an email. Spelled right, good grammar. I don't need the AI help. But like for cover letters and, stuff that's more official, like maybe you do see what it has to offer. Maybe you're like, oh, actually that does sound better. Or this paragraph sounds better, but I'm going to keep this other paragraph that I wrote because I like it better. But having the option is nice. You know what I mean? There was one where it was like dinner details, and the guy that was presenting was so over the top, just like so excited to be here, high on life kind of a guy.
Yeah, I know.
At least that's how he was when he was presenting. And it's like, oh, we can use AI to rewrite a poem. Who doesn't want that? And I was like, I literally said out loud, this guy. Like, why do I want to rewrite my? Why do I want to have?
I just want to
rewrite
do that.
My dinner invite as a poem.
Yeah, I just want to do that every once in a while just to be funny. So,
who doesn't want that? This guy.
I think I would enjoy that. I'll start sending you my texts.
Ironically,
all in
yes.
Poetic form.
If it's not a limerick, I don't want it.
I can make that work. Rewrite this as a limerick.
I'm excited to play with this and see what it works. Yeah. So at the bottom, what does that say?
I have the option. Do I dare?
Oh boy.
I could download the developer beta today. Apparently.
You have a developer account?
I don't have a paid one, but I have a developer account.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking at the compatible devices for Apple Intelligence, and your iMac is not on that list. It's A17 Pro for the iPhones, and then M1 and later for iPad and Macs.
I know that the intelligence stuff for sure wasn't going to be available because they said it in the.
That's only on Apple Silicon, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get it on your phone though.
Yeah, and I'll get it
Just
on my
not on your
MacBook Air
iMac.
too.
Yeah.
So, no, it is what it is. This thing's. I'm assuming that I'll be able to update to Sequoia. I'm just not going to have a lot of those other features. So, I can at least get the wallpaper. So,
All right. I don't think I have anything else.
I don't. Did you want to
Just
take a few
excited
minutes
to-
to talk about what's delighting us this week, or do you want to skip it and...
I have to leave in 10 minutes to go get my kid from camp.
That's fair.
So,
All right. I will just say for those of you who like doing live streaming, check out Ecamm Live. Ecamm Live's got some really cool new features for integration with Zoom and some other things. So check that out. But also, I'll keep that short. That's what's delighting me right now because I've been playing with that all morning. So, but anyway, we'll wrap up the show then, unless you've got anything else you want to add.
no, it's good to be back.
Yeah.
You know, we took like we said,
Back in the saddle.
some time off, and
Yeah.
didn't. Gosh. All right, that's it, folks. It's been good. Talk to you later.
All right. Well, if you want to check out more about us, get our back catalog or anything else, hit us up on interdialogue.show. There is a feedback button there. You can let us know how we did for you today. If you'd like to ask a question or make a comment, just let us know there. If you want to know more about what I do, check out mitchcraig.online. Cam, where can people find you?
CamBrennan.com.
All right. Cam, it's been fun. We'll try this again in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir. See you
All right.
then.
Peace.
Bye. Okay, I have two very quick questions, then I have to skedaddle.